Hello everyone, this is RaySpace and welcome back to my Neofly career in Microsoft Flight Sim 2024, where I continue to fly the Douglas DC-6 by PMDG. And here I have set up my flight, and that is one that gets me from Alaska across British Columbia to the state of Washington to Walla Walla. And I mainly picked it because I just wanted to fly into Walla Walla, Washington, because it's one of the funniest names available in the United States. And of course, we are going to fly down into the United States, though we have plenty of options here, including direct flights to Germany here. If I wanted to fly a really long flight and get a $2 million reward, not really, because the cost of it would be a lot of that chunk, but probably a good net amount. We could do that, but I do want to fly around the US a little bit, so we are not going to just skip over it and fly directly across the Atlantic from the West Coast, and instead go into Walla Walla, Washington and carry some meat, it looks like. It's just a flight time must not exceed sort of flight, and so I'm going to pick it up, PAPG to KALW, and let's make sure to grab some fuel here. I'll just go with that amount. Alright, and then we can set things up in the sim. Here I already have the flight, and I remembered to get the parking spot instead of the runway, so we'll actually start it up properly. And I'm going to actually use SimBrief so that I can also use Beyond ATC. I have a lot of work to do as far as my acumen, ATC communication acumen is concerned. Alright, so our payload is, let's say, 18,000. Just to give it some buffer, and then generate. So it says block fuel 10,861, but I think I loaded in 14,000, probably for the best. Doesn't really want to import route. I keep clicking it, and it doesn't want to do it. I wonder if SimBrief is broken, or maybe I need an update to it for this version since the sim got updated. Doesn't really want to import route. So I guess I'm just going to have the direct one in here. Hopefully this will still be available for Beyond ATC, and that'll be good enough. I could download the flight plan and manually sort of bring it in, but I think this will be alright. We'll see. The one thing I lack right now is Sky for Sim. That doesn't work with this sim yet.
Welcome back, Captain. It looks
as
like
far as I know.
It's perfect for flying.
Okay, well it says 14,481, so okay. I would like it to be balanced between the tip tanks and the main tanks, though, because I mean there's cross-feeding, but okay, well it's not gonna let me do that. I'll just have to maybe, let me see. Yeah, you can cross-feed between them, but I would like them to be balanced. Let's see, 7,000. Should be able to do 3,600 in all of them. That would be good. Ah, it didn't do it. Maybe I have to do exactly the right amount. Okay. Load an aircraft? Nah, it still does that. Okay, well I'll just have to turn on the cross-feeding cargo. We need 17,000. Well, that'll be more than enough. Let me just load that much. Okay. Looks like Neofly is happy with that. Okay, well, let me fire up Beyond ATC to see if it has what it needs. Well, Beyond ATC at the top now has a Santa mode, but I don't know what the heck that is, so we'll avoid that. Alright. Romeo Alpha 412 requesting IFR clearance to Walla Walla, Washington.
Romeo Alpha 412, Anchorage Center, cleared to Walla Walla Airport. Radar vectors level island VOR, Venice filed. Maintain 4000. Expect 15,000, 10 minutes after departure. Departure with me. Squawk 1244.
Taxi to runway 23, radar vectors LVD, altitude clearance 4,000 feet, squawking 1244, Romeo Alpha 412. Oh, I should check the pad to see that the engines are still happy. They're still happy. It always resets now. So yeah, it's not retaining the state of things in this sim the way it does in Flight Sim 2020, and I don't know how to fix that. So that's a flaw. But, you know, it wasn't like it was costing us anything anyway. So they will need to do some sort of update, I think, to get that working. Or maybe, as long as the PMDG installer has install option for Flight Sim 2024, it might work out. Okay, well, let's get these tanks on. And I will have... I'll wait on the crossfeed, maybe. Or maybe we'll just have it. That might... Yeah, I'll just leave that be. Okay. Alright. So I think we're ready to go. Okay, and final engine.
3, 6, 9, 12.
You're good to go. Contact the tower for clearance.
Alright, well, let's go to plane battery, get the ground power unit off. Well, I tried to pick a place that would give me enough room to turn. We'll see if I was right. Of course, I'll have to crush some planes along the way. Alright, it's always a good question where Beyond ATC actually wants me to hold. Before we go, let's check all the engines are happy. It looks like they're all happy. Alright. Holding for release at runway 23, Romeo Alpha 412.
Romeo Alpha 412, released for departure. Clearance void if not off by 1920 Zulu. If not off by 1920 Zulu, contact no later than 1930 Zulu. Time now 1858 Zulu. Frequency change approved.
Okay. I think we'll use a lot of the juice. Not all of the juice, but a lot of the juice for this one. I do not want to smack into the trees at the other end. Alright, lift off.
Transporter, good flight.
Gear up.
Romeo Alpha 412, Anchorage Center, radar contact. Climb maintain 10,000 feet, altimeter 2982.
Climb and maintain 10,000 feet, altimeter 29.82, Romeo Alpha 412. Well, the scenery around here in Alaska could do with some work. The mesh is not that great.
Romeo Alpha 412, climb and maintain 15,000.
15,000. Climb and maintain 15,000, Romeo Alpha 412. Alright, approaching 15,000 feet. Assuming that the altimeter calibration they gave me was correct. Well, chugging along at 250 or so, I guess. Well, we're into some weather here. I'm close to Vancouver. and it's very cloudy at this altitude, and we're losing speed apparently. So I've got the pitot heat on, obviously, and also windshield and anti-icing up there. But maybe it is time for all the other de-icers. I'll try that out first. Airfoil heater master, sure, why not? Now we have a limited amount of anti-icing fluid, so I'll see. But we're basically getting iced here. And I'll see if that helps our airspeed. Otherwise I'll have to ascend or descend one way or another out of the clouds. So we're having some effects, let's put it that way. We're pretty tight on fuel as well. Definitely tight on fuel. Weirdly, the fuel flow that the DC6 is outputting right now to both Little Nav Map and my Stream Deck is incorrect. To both, it's telling them that the fuel flow is about 640 pounds per hour per engine, when we can see from the dials it's more like 940 pounds per hour per engine, and it doesn't matter what throttle setting I've got, it's always reported less than it actually is. And I wonder if that's also true in the flight planning. I think that SimBrief also thought that the fuel consumption would be less when it's actually much more. And so it plans for less, less fuel consumption in the flight plan when we need actually more fuel than it's saying. Well, we have picked up speed. The airspeed indicator is a little bit better now. Ground speed on the little map thing says 262 right now. So it looks like our heaters are working, but the anti-icing fluid's already down a notch, basically. So that's 14 out of 16 gallons that we have. We're down to. But we're still in the clouds, so I'll probably leave it be. I don't know how soon it's going to ice up again if I turn it off. But yeah, we're about an hour away from Walla Walla. And I have a little bit over an hour worth of fuel. So it's not great or anything, but we are still chugging along. There's a 45 knot crosswind, which is why my heading is sort of tilted with respect to the course line. Now I'll get down to 12 gallons on the anti-icing fluid, then switch off the de-icers. I mean, it looks less icy. So that's the airspeed right now. If it dips below 200 again, I'll turn them on again, I suppose. Ground speed 267. But we are going into another cloud. Haven't heard a peep from beyond ATC. Apparently they've implemented the live traffic stuff, but I haven't gotten FSLTL in here. I think you just have to copy the models. So I'll try that. The injector for FSLTL isn't working. But hopefully if I have the models in here beyond ATC, we'll be able to work with them, we will see. Well, I'm into the United States now, over Washington State, and I have had to use the de-icer a little bit more. We're about halfway through the anti-icing fluid, but I've only got about 166 nautical miles left to go, and the clouds are clearing here. so hopefully I won't need too much de-icing. I will have to descend at some point. But putting that anti-icing fluid to use, finally. Now I have to hope that the crossfeed is working properly. We're about done with the fuel in 2 of the tanks. Main tank 2 and main tank 3 are almost done. So, yeah, hopefully the crossfeed works. Otherwise, I'm gonna lose 2 engines. Uh-oh, it seems like we've lost 2 engines, as sort of expected. Which crossfeed will give them back to me? Yeah, it doesn't look like I'm gonna get them back. The crossfeed just wasn't working. Let me just check that it's not the... I mean, I think it's definitely the fuel, but I'll just turn on the icers just in case. I mean, the icers. Yeah, I really wish that the crossfeed would work. Alright, well, we have to go down now. But fortunately, that's not entirely against the plan, so... Well, I suppose I should feather the props if I'm really sure that I'm not gonna get them back. I'll give it a little bit more time in case it was the icing problem. Well, carburetor temp's not good on the ones that are working. Interesting, it won't let me change these mixture levers. Can't seem to turn them. Yeah, maybe just in this version of the sim the crossfeed isn't working. I don't know. That's a possibility. Now, what about beyond ATC? They haven't talked to me in ages. Seattle Center, there's Romeo Alpha 412 at 13,000 feet, descending to Walla Walla.
Romeo Alpha 412, Seattle Center. Expect radar vectors, runway 20.
Expecting radar vectors, runway 20, Romeo Alpha 412.
Romeo Alpha 412, turn left, heading 120 vectors for Walla Walla Airport. Expect further clearance in about 62 miles.
Turning left, heading 120, Romeo Alpha 412.
Romeo Alpha 412, you were assigned 15,000 feet. I show you at 12,835. Climb and maintain 15,000 feet.
Climb and maintain 15,000 feet, Romeo Alpha 412. Romeo Alpha 412, requesting 9,000 feet.
Romeo Alpha 412, I didn't get that altitude. Say again altitude.
Romeo Alpha 412, requesting 11,000 feet.
Romeo Alpha 412, I didn't get that altitude. Say again altitude.
9,000.
Romeo Alpha 412, confirm new cruise altitude 9,000?
Affirmative.
Romeo Alpha 412, roger, new cruise altitude 9,000. Romeo Alpha 412, turn right, heading 130.
Oh, I turned way too much. Turn right, heading 130, Romeo Alpha 412. Alright, well, I just gotta shut down 2 and 3. We gotta feather them. So just 2 engines landing here. Well, I've used up all the anti-icing fluid. Hopefully it's warmer outside now. Yep. Engines 2 and 3 are down. We are very iced over. Okay, well, let's see if I can remain flying at 9,000 feet level. Might have to push the engines a bit more. Perhaps a clearing here. Now we're losing too much speed like this. Well, I'll try and give it more power. It's not gonna like that, but I think the props are icy. I can't change the RPM. Well, that's just gonna be lovely. Okay, I think I have to descend much lower to where they're not gonna be iced over. And I don't care what ATC has to say at this point. Maybe feathering the propellers of 2 and 3 caused me to lose control over the propeller pitch of 1 and 4? I don't know. At least they don't seem to be working.
Romeo Alpha 412, contact Spokane approach 133.15.
133.15, Romeo Alpha 412. Spokane approach, this is Romeo Alpha 412 at 8,400 feet, descending into Walla Walla.
Romeo Alpha 412, Spokane approach, altimeter 3014, expect a visual approach runway 20.
Visual approach, runway 20, Romeo Alpha 412. Well, we look less frosty now anyway. I think. Well, no, the nose is still very frosty. And then we have frost around the windscreen. Well, I tried real hard to have the fuel properly distributed. And it didn't let me have the fuel properly distributed. And this is why we lost those 2 engines. I didn't trust the fuel crossfeed to begin with. This worked for me in Flight Sim 2020 once, but also didn't work for me in Flight Sim 2020 a few times. We're just getting snow in our face at this point. So, yeah, dangerous situation here.
Romeo Alpha 412, turn right, heading 175, vectors for the approach.
Turn right, heading 175, vectors for the approach, Romeo Alpha 412. Actually, 175 is a little bit tight to the approach. I'm going to overrule a bit. I might turn back to 150 soon.
Romeo Alpha 412, turn left, heading 135.
I knew it.
Intercept the
Heading
20
135.
localizer. Descend, maintain 3,700 feet. Altimeter 3014.
Turn left, heading 135, descend and maintain 3700, altimeter 30.14, Romeo Alpha 412. Oh, I did not want to flatten out though. Oh, I bet because it's getting warmer, we're losing some of the ice, and that's improving our performance. We're right by 0 degrees Celsius there. So that's probably why we're going faster now, and why I flattened out even though I was descending before.
Romeo Alpha 412. Airport is at your 2 o'clock 14 miles. Report the field in sight.
Report the field in sight. Looking for the field, Romeo Alpha 412. Well, I mean, I can see some ground, I guess. But I don't have a whole lot of visibility around here to be reporting a field in sight 14 miles away. But I'm sure as hell gonna lie to them. Field in sight, Romeo Alpha 412.
Romeo Alpha 412. Cleared visual approach runway 20.
Cleared for visual, runway 20, Romeo Alpha 412. I'm sure I'll be able to see it by the time I get there.
Romeo Alpha 412. Contact Walla Tower 118.5.
118.5, Romeo Alpha 412. Walla Walla Tower, there's Romeo Alpha 412.
Romeo Alpha 412, Walla Tower, wind 180 at 7, runway 20 cleared to land.
Clear to land, runway 20, Romeo Alpha 412. It's gonna be a pain in the butt. I don't have enough fuel to do anything but land, that's for sure. Oh, my flaps do not appear to be going down. Yeah, well, at least the landing gear's down. But the flaps are stuck, I guess. Great. Well, in that case, we need extra power from the engines. Alright, well, I think I actually see the runway now. Well, yeah, no flaps. And the wind is a tailwind. 5 knots only, though. Why they had me coming in this way, I don't know.
Transported
Okay.
from dispatch. Nice landing.
Nice
Go
landing.
to the
even.
parking and put your parking brake on. I'll be in touch. Contact ground for your parking
Romeo
assignment,
Alpha
then shut
412,
down your
exit left at Alpha.
I guess this is left at Alpha.
Transport from dispatch. Okay, nice job. Someone is coming to take the cargo.
I'm not
I'll
done
call
yet.
you when it's
Oh,
done.
it's one of those cases where even if one of the... Fine, I better park. If even one of the engines is out,
Romeo Alpha 412, exit left at Alpha.
it reads it as done. Exit left at Alpha, Romeo Alpha 412.
Transporter from dispatch. Cargo unloaded and checked. It is always a pleasure to work with you.
Alright, well. I can't even shut down the mixtures here.
Let's get out of here.
I can control some things, but not other things, apparently. Also, shutting off the fuel isn't shutting off those engines. I don't know how that is. I can't even change these. Well, we're parking here. Alright, well, got the money anyway. Mission successful. I don't know if well, I mean, as long as I top off the tanks entirely, maybe I don't need to worry about the crossfeed and should try one of the long flights, but it does sort of make me wonder about the wisdom of going for a long flight. This one's tempting, though, just across country down to Florida, apparently. Well, I'll have to think about that. Right now, well, I could pay back that loan. I probably ought to. I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna repay that loan. And now we're free and clear of that sort of thing. But alright. Well, this flight was fraught and I'm blocking the way here at Walla Walla, but, well, they'll tow me at some point. So, anyway, with that, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do press like. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. And I'll see you next time.